So today I have an industry inside story, part 2. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Matt Steinfeld. Thank you for watching. And this is part 2 of a mini series that I'm going to be doing on my YouTube channel called Insider Story. Now, last episode, I talked about a videographer friend of mine in Dallas who's worked in different markets like LA, Atlanta, New York, and he was sharing a little bit of kind of the toxic culture that is involved in the music industry and certain things that you have to do or that most people do that they think is important in order to be competitive. Now, I want to tell another story about a friend, and this friend is actually a friend of a friend, and he lives in Nashville. He's also from Dallas originally. And I met a mutual friend of his in Dallas, which got me in contact with him because we both write. We're both singer-songwriters. And he thought it would be a good opportunity for us to meet each other and to just kind of maybe encourage each other, bounce ideas, but mainly just to talk and to share ideas like I'm doing with this channel. Now, the thing is about this guy is he writes music. He composes songs, he plays on guitar, and he has a little bit different of approach than me. I'm more of a kind of DIY person. I like to record at home. I like to engineer my own stuff, and primarily the reason why I do that is because I enjoy that, but it's also very, very cheap, and I can make a lot of music that way. Now, him, on the other hand, he does not like that. He does not like to engineer. He does not like to do things like that himself. He much prefers to write a bunch of songs, pick the best one, and then he'll go into the studio and record and maybe save up for, a month or so, and then just splurge like maybe $1,500, $2,000 on a couple days in the studio, and then he'll put some money behind one track. Now, those are two different perspectives. I don't think one's right or wrong. I just prefer one and he prefers the other. But anyways, I had a conversation with him, and one of the differences between him and I is that I consider myself a singer-songwriter, but I also primarily see myself as an artist, someone that wants to be performing my own songs. He, on the other hand, likes and wishes and is attempting to be a staff writer. He wants a publishing deal. So if some of you don't know what a publishing deal is that let's say a record label like like Sony or Capitol Records or Mercury Records or Atlantic. If they see someone that's making good music, they may give them a contract as an artist. And oftentimes when they give a contract to an artist, they'll also give them a publishing deal. And what a publishing deal is that they are now a songwriter. And so they can, if they're an artist, then they also record their own music. But if they just have a publishing deal, they're making music for someone else to record. So the reason why, these big labels like Sony and whatnot, they want to own the song and they want to own the masters. So the masters is, let's say you have a famous song that someone writes and then they perform it. Well, if the label makes money from the sales of that recording of that song, but if they also own the song, then they can get other artists within their label to record that song and do a cover song and make money from that again. A great example recently is, I guess relatively recently, is there's this artist named Chris Stapleton. He's considered a country artist, but he really is more kind of R&B and blues, soul music. But he recorded a song called Tennessee Whiskey, and it was really, really made popular by the performance at the Grammys with Justin Timberlake. And Tennessee Whiskey is a song that was originally recorded by David Allan Coe, and then it was recorded by George Jones. But this song made Chris Stapleton's career. It blew him up, and he really got a lot of, well, he's, as the artist, he's making money off that recording, but he doesn't own that song. So the songwriter, the person who wrote that song, Dean Dillon and someone else, is making money every time these different artists record it, whether it's George Jones, Chris Stapleton, David Allan Coe. So what these record labels want to do is they want to make the most money possible from one song. So when they hire an artist or they sign an artist, they may give them a publishing deal if they have the chops to make music and to create their own music. Otherwise, they're just like Selena Gomez or, a typical pop artist that doesn't write their own music. They just sing songs that another publisher wrote. So, long story short, my friend lives in Nashville, and he is trying to get a publishing deal at a record label, not to be an artist, but to be a songwriter for someone else to sing his songs. So he'll take if he gets a staff writing position, he will be basically on the payroll, making a salary, but his songs are owned by his employer. And one of the reasons that some artists do this is because they don't make much money as an artist, but they have the chops to write music. And so they see that it's worth it to take a check and basically give their songs to a record label. Now, that's not my style, as you know, but that's his style. Now, about the culture, inside story. The inside story is that he was telling me that, in Nashville, everybody wants to be an artist. Everybody wants to be a songwriter. Every waiter, every bartender, every person pumping gas is trying to make it. The same thing with Los Angeles in acting. And the thing is that you can't just knock on a label's door and say, hey, I'm a songwriter, because that's what everybody's tried to do in the past. And if you don't know this, but labels often don't take unsolicited music, which means they don't take demo tapes randomly, because artists have tried to sue labels for stealing their songs when they send in a demo tape. So it's kind of a scam, but they'll send in a demo tape, and then if they hear a song that's similar to that demo tape that they sent in that the label puts out, they'll sue the label saying, hey, you stole my song. And apparently people have gotten big checks from this. And so most labels don't take unsolicited tapes. So he's not just knocking on doors, but one way that you can get your foot in the door is by writing with other people who have publishing deals, other songwriters. And you may not be familiar with the Nashville songwriting teams, but the Nashville Co-Write is a very real and unique thing where 2 or 3 or 4 people go into a room and they write a song. And some songwriters do this every day. And it's really kind of strange if you're not familiar with that. But what he does is it's basically based on networking. And he goes into these rooms with friends who are songwriters who have publishing deals. And if the song gets recorded, then people will look at the credits of the song and see his name next to these other people who have publishing deals, in the hopes that he's hoping that that's going to get him a publishing deal. Now, here's the thing. One of the things that he has shared with me, and I've tried to tell him my perspective. I've tried to say things like, well, why don't you just record as much music as you can and put it out there and try to develop a fan base, and, people will like your sound. If they like this song, they may like another song. Don't just put all your money behind one song. Why don't you just try to put out as much music as you can that you think's good? And he too told me, he said, well, there's this culture here where people look down on you if, your next song isn't better than the last song. People look down on you if you go to a co-write and, people see that you're not published. People see that you don't have a writing, a staff position, or you don't have a publishing deal. And he was just telling me that depending on what other people think of him often determines his moves. And I know that that's just him, working through the navigating the culture that he's in. But it really shocked me. It made me wonder, like, wow, like this is real. This is like really, this is really happening. This is like high school, middle school, geeks and jocks and, our lunch table, your lunch table type stuff. Very much related to what my friend, the videographer, was saying to me in the last story, in the previous Inside Story episode. There's a general theme that I'm trying to portray here. Again, I don't have a publishing deal. I'm not an insider. I'm not a staff writer at a major label. I'm not, people aren't knocking down my door to write with them. This is not coming from me personally. This is coming from a friend that's doing this. He's got 40,000 followers, listeners on Spotify because he makes good music. But what he really wants is to write songs for big artists like Tim McGraw or Garth Brooks or Kenny Chesney or whoever, Jason Isbell. Not Jason Isbell. Jason Isbell writes his songs. But so what he wants to do is write for other people. He's a good songwriter and he has a lot of listeners on Spotify and he has the chops to do it. But one of the, and this is a really good dude. This is a friend of mine that I care about. And the videographer in the last episode is the same thing. Solid person, cool dude that you would trust and have respect for. But both of these guys are saying that, look, they're in a culture now where you kind of have to pay attention who you run with, who you work with, what rooms you're in matter. It sometimes you may take a job because someone else is involved in it that's going to help you. And I just don't know how I think about all this. And I know it's real. I've experienced this in the banking world and in the mortgage world for sure. And it's so off-putting to me. It's off-putting to me because I feel like it's like I said last episode, just like toxic dating. It's like childish. And, but that's the culture. That's the culture. That's the inside culture for a lot of people. Now, it's not always like that. Not everybody's like that. I've heard really good stories of people, and good experiences for both these guys. But I want to make this very clear that, this is a real thing. And a lot of it is facade. A lot of it is unfair. A lot of it is not based on merit. A lot of it is based on relationships. And so knew this guy, and so he got into the room, and then his name's gone on the credit, and now he's getting, invites to this and that. I guess I could just say, this is a cautionary tale. Stay independent, do your own thing. But that's just my perspective. That's just what I'm more and more aware of for myself and wish to do myself. But if you really want to take this to the next level and you have the abilities to do that, notice and be aware that there's good people that are in the business, and even these people are often in a situation where they're having to make compromises. And when you're in it long enough, it may become normal. And for me personally, that's not something that I want. That's not something that I want for me. And if I had to be in those situations where I had to like pander to people or, do that type of thing, instead of just staying real to myself or my music or my integrity, I think I would really have to have certain teams around me or certain people around me to kind of keep people from gate crashing. And what I mean by that is to have people in my life to block out, the negative influence. Anyways, all that to say, I appreciate you listening. Let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know if you have an experience like this. Let me know if you used to tour, or if you ever had a publishing deal, or if you were ever working for a label or knew people that were. And let me know what you think. Let me know if you have a positive story. Right now, I'm just kind of throwing out some cautionary tales, but let me know what you think, and that would be a big help to me if you left a comment, if you subscribed. Please do. I appreciate you watching. As always, we'll see you again next time.